Hi traders, welcome to this live currency strength indicator table video with me, John, on this Tuesday the 25th of July. So we said it might be a couple of days of pause in the markets, and although we have had some slight movement around and about, we talked about CAD yen for instance, which still features as the top of our day traders table at the moment. Aussie is the only currency showing up with a confluence at the moment. So Aussie is going to be where our focus is. We're going to check it out against some weaker currencies like the yen, like the euro. We're also going to have a quick look back at CAD yen as well, see how that market is currently moving. But yeah, as I said yesterday, some big data coming up tomorrow. We have the FOMC federal funds rate decision, and that is going to be the catalyst, I think, that drives the market going forward. Now we do have the dollar here as a strong currency, but as you can see on the trend trader side of the table, it is a weak currency. So we have opposing sort of ideas going on there, very much the same with the Swiss franc strongest currency, but at the moment on W3 on the day traders table. So I can tell you one or two things. It means that the higher time frame is a bigger sort of downward pressure on the dollar, for instance, and it's in a downward trend essentially against the stronger markets like the Swiss franc. However, on a lower time frame, it's actually strong. So that can mean that there's actually a short-term pullback on that currency at this current moment in time. Obviously, then if things do change, we see the Swiss franc remove itself from the trend trader side of the table, then that can mean that there's a bigger influence at play and a bigger change in that direction of that currency. So at the moment, Swiss is still here, but let's have a look at our Aussie pairs then. So Aussie yen is a chart that could be interesting to us. We are currently trading at 95.76, as you can see on chart partner in the top left corner here. We are trading above a key resistance zone as well. So you can see I've highlighted the 95.50 handle here, which were around the prior lows. Price starting to break through that area now. We're definitely in that sort of upward trend here. Price is really extending higher. It's quite interesting to see the fact that we've recovered quite a significant amount of that rally that we had. So the rally was an 800 pip rally on the daily chart, and we recovered about half of that, just over half of that rally, and now we're starting to see a continuation to the upside here. Now if I just flick over to a weekly chart, weekly is looking a little bit more bullish in terms of it's quite clean. You can see that we have these wicks to the downside there. That wick is telling us basically that as prices tried to seek lower prices, buyers have stepped back in. Again, as price start to seek lower prices, buyers step back in. So it could be a sign that we are going to see price head higher. Now, you've got the prior highs at 97.60, which could be targets for any kind of short-term buyers here. But we also have the sort of major, well, not the major high, but the high that formed back in the week of the 11th of September 2022. So that 98 sort of 50 level could be the secondary targets for traders long. Now, if we go and have a little look at the daily chart, I do have an area that I would like to see potentially trade through first. Obviously, we've got this trend line resistance that I've placed in, which is formed from the high of the 19th of June. It connects with the high on the 5th of July, and that extended out. You can see price is currently at that area at the moment. So I would like to see price trade through that just to give us a little bit more confluence there. If we go to a 4-hour time frame as well, you can see we're at those highs, could act as short-term resistance. So in theory, what I'm trying to look for is maybe a breakout of that area, a pullback in, and then look for our long opportunities in line with prior highs, targeting each high on the way up, including that major weekly high. So that's something I'm kind of considering there for Aussie yen. It'd be nice if the yen actually came onto the trend trader side of the table as weak again. So that would be nice to see. It's probably resting about W4, to be honest, considering the fact that we are W1 on the day traders table. And if we were to look across the board, the yen has been considerably weak. Let's go take a look at our CAD yen as we're on the topic of yen. We were talking about being long yesterday around this 106.60. I actually got long on the hourly 50 instead, so we didn't quite pull back into that 106.60, but I managed to get an entry around about 106.85. So I'm currently 40 pips up. I was around about 80 pips to the good. Price just coming down and testing that 50 moving average again, testing these lows. So I'll see how price performs there, but we do have CAD yen as the top on our day traders. So I'm not particularly worried about this market at the moment, and I'll see how that one plays out. Future John just stepping in here. So as I was reflecting on the video with Charles rightly pointed out that we do have a pound Oz position in at the moment, and why have I not covered it in an Oz strength video? And the answer was pound wasn't there in the table, so I didn't focus on that particular pair. But as we were chatting, pound appears as a weak currency, so looks like we are going to be focusing on pound Oz as well. So I've just edited the video just to put pound Oz in. So let's just head over there now, and we'll check out pound Aussie. So we were in this position because of pound weakness in the market, and we actually pointed this out on Thursday, the 20th of July, and we were looking at the fact that price had come into this weekly level of resistance, which is around about the 1.9150 handle, and price had failed to close above that level. So we were interested in pound Aussie short from that point in particular, and pound at that time was on the tables as a weak currency. If we go back into our tables and we scroll down to the 20th of July, we can see that pound is featured there, as well as the Australian dollar on our day traders, and it has featured there pretty much ever since. We have had some changes. When pound has been on the table, sometimes Aussie has gone away, but when Aussie has reappeared on the table, pound has also sort of kind of reflected that and come back as well. There was only one time where they both were not featured, or were on the wrong side of the tables, I should say, and that was when Aussie did appear as weak, but pound on the evening did feature as weak as well, and Aussie had moved away at that point, so held the position at that point, and we've now seen it reappear. So yeah, pound Aussie still on the table, still going, and we're about 80 pips or so up on this current market move. Now, we entered on a pullback move into this area here, which was around about that 1.9075 handle. Our stop losses were above these swing highs, and prices started to push to the downside here. Now, there are a couple of interesting areas on this market. Like we said before, I do quite like these lows here down at the 1.8525. My current target is 1.86, so we'll see how this one plays out, because we do have this important low coming up at the 1.8850. So I'd like to see price trade through that and continue to the downside here, maybe even focus on that 200 moving average down below. So just wanted to throw that one into the video there. Hopefully it hasn't disturbed it too much, and yeah, I will revert back to the video now. So resume current video. Focusing back on the Australian dollar then, Euro Oz is an interesting market at this current moment in time. Euro, despite it being S3 on the trend traders table, is W2 on the day traders. So I came and had a little look at this market, and we can see that price has recently tried to head for the 167.50 handle. We've come up short around about the 165.50. Price has failed to trade above, and you can see again we're starting to get some wicks in this area, and price has just rejected. We've now traded through that weekly low, which is a sign of further downside pressure. So we might come into the 162 handle, perhaps all the way back to the 200 daily moving average at the 159. Now, if I look at it from a daily chart perspective, there's nothing really for us there. However, if I go into a 4-hour chart and zoom out a little bit, you can see that price formed a low back at around 164. So that could be an area of interest for sellers again. So you can see you've got the lower high, now we're forming the new lower low. Are we going to see something where maybe price comes back in and around this area here, pulls back into the 164, maybe then extends down into that 162 handle, perhaps all the way down to that 159 area where the daily 200 moving average is. We could argue price is in a bit of a range here between that 165.50 and around about the 162.50. So if that was a concern, then possibly we could look for or wait for a breakout to the downside before price heads lower, basically. So that's also something to consider going forward. Euro Oz there. It's going to be a tricky week. I think we're going to have to wait for some data to come out to really start pushing the market where we're kind of expecting to, in line with the currency strength indicator tables at the moment. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one. But thanks for watching the video, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll speak to you in the next one.